ever feel like your kid speaks a different language? Especially when they hit that lovely teenage phase.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's like 1 minute they're these sweet little creatures you can cuddle, and the
Oh,
next they're slamming doors and muttering, you just don't get it.
it's classic.
So today we're diving deep, really deep into Hold On to Your Kids.
By Neufeld and Matei.
Right. Really trying to unpack why parenting can feel so tough sometimes. And more importantly,
What we can actually do about it.
exactly. So, when I first saw the title, I'll be honest,
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be all about babies and toddlers, that clingy stage.
Right. Makes sense.
But then I got into the book and whoa, it's so much more than that.
It really is.
It all starts with this idea of attachment.
Which initially sounds basic. Right.
Yeah, I thought I knew what that meant, but man, was I wrong.
Yeah, most people think of just the physical needs.
Yeah.
Food, shelter, all that.
Right.
But it goes way deeper. Think about it. That moment your baby first really looks at you and their whole face just lights up.
It's magical.
That right there, that's attachment in action, that pure joy, that connection. And the book emphasizes it doesn't just disappear as they grow up.
Right, it just changes, morphs.
Evolves, exactly. So we're not just talking diapers and feeding schedules.
Huh.
It's about that deep emotional bond, the feeling of truly being seen, understood by your parent.
Like feeling safe enough to just be yourself without judgment.
Exactly. And the book makes this amazing comparison to the imprinting effect.
Like with the ducklings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How they instinctively follow their mother.
Yeah.
It's wired into their biology. Well, children, we crave that same feeling from our parents.
That makes a lot of sense.
That sense of security, belonging, knowing you've got someone who's always in your corner.
It's almost like a homing beacon.
Yeah. And here's where things get interesting, because we all know kids hit adolescence, things start to shift. They pull away from us parents,
Big time.
and they gravitate towards their peers.
Like moths to a flame.
It's almost like, and the book actually uses this phrase, an emotional affair,
Wow, that's strong.
but it's fitting. Because that shift in loyalty, in who they're seeking approval from, it can be just as intense, all-consuming as any romantic relationship.
Oh, I see what you mean. So their peers become their main source of validation, who they want to impress, please.
Yeah, it's like their emotional compass suddenly recalibrates.
Right. It's no longer pointing home.
Right. It's now pointing towards their friends.
And the book uses this example of, was it Cynthia, the 14-year-old?
Yep. Totally closed off with her parents, but with her friends, she's lively, engaged.
It's like she's two different people.
And that's the tricky part. Because a lot of parents, they see this and think, oh, it's just a phase, typical teenage stuff.
They'll grow out of it, right?
But it's not always that simple. Because what's really happening is that parent-child attachment, it's weakening. And guess who's filling that void?
the friends.
Right. And that's where we start running into trouble.
Yeah, because if kids are taking their cues from their friends instead of from us, they might end up embracing behaviors or values, things that don't quite line up with what we've tried to instill in them.
That's the danger. It's like the blind leading the blind. Neither the kid nor their friends really have the experience, the maturity.
To handle all the complexities of life.
Exactly. So you get risky behavior, bad choices.
And a whole lot of conflict at home.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed. And that leads us to the big question the book poses. Do we even have the right to parent?
Ooh, that one stopped me in my tracks.
Right. Makes you think. And Neufeld's answer is not what you'd expect. He says it's not some automatic thing. It's not like just because your mom or dad.
You get to call all the shots.
Nope. He says it's a right that's earned.
Through the attachment we build with our kids.
Precisely. So if that weakens, so does our influence.
That's a pretty sobering thought.
It is. And there's this example in the book, really stuck with me. 9-year-old boy, Sean. His parents divorced.
It's breaking.
But they decided, we'll stay single for his sake. Trying to do the right thing. But here's the thing. Even though they were physically present, the family structure, the emotional landscape, it was all disrupted.
Yeah.
And that led to a breakdown in their attachment with Sean.
And how did that show up?
He became rebellious, aggressive,
Yeah.
acting out in all sorts of ways.
So even with the best of intentions, if that core connection is fractured.
Our efforts to guide and support our kids, they might just fall flat.
Wow, that's a lot to digest. So what you're saying is that attachment, that's the make or break factor.
It really is.
Yeah.
The book lays it out clearly. Effective parenting needs 3 things. 1, you've got to have a dependent child.
Right, makes sense.
2, you got to have an adult willing to step up, take responsibility.
Got it.
But the third one is the biggie, a strong attachment between them.
If that's missing, the whole system's shaky.
Exactly. Like a three-legged stool, you take away one leg, the whole thing collapses.
Okay, so attachment is key. But what about teenage rebellion? Isn't that, just a normal part of growing up? Healthy, even. Okay, so attachment is key. But what about teenage rebellion? Isn't that, just a normal part of growing up? Healthy, even.
That's where Neufeld throws a curveball. He says rebellion, it's an instinct.
An instinct.
It's like built in. A kind of psychological immune system.
Whoa, okay, I've never thought of it like that.
It kicks in, helps kids separate, become their own person.
So that 5-year-old who's screaming no at everything.
Exactly. He's not just being a pain.
He's actually figuring out his boundaries.
Testing them, pushing them, it's all part of the process.
So he's discovering his own preferences, saying, hey, this is E.
Exactly. Asserting his independence. But here's the thing, and this is crucial. Neufeld distinguishes between what he calls true independence.
Oh, so there's a good kind of rebellion.
And a not-so-good kind. True independence, that's about authentic self-discovery.
Okay.
Figuring out your own values, your beliefs, even if they're different from your parents.
Got it.
But then there's false independence.
Huh.
Conforming to the peer group.
Ah, so it's like, are they marching to the beat of their own drum or someone else's?
Exactly. And that's the difference parents got to be aware of.
But honestly, even if we grasp all this, it's still hard. Connecting with a teenager who's basically pushing us away.
Yeah, it's tough.
So what do we do when it feels like we've already lost some of that attachment?
Well, first, breathe.
Yeah.
It's never too late to rebuild.
Really? Even when it feels like the door slammed shut?
Especially then. And the book, it offers some great advice. Neufeld talks about tapping into our instinct to nurture.
Like we did when they were little.
Exactly. That tenderness, that attentiveness, shifting our focus from correcting behavior.
To truly connecting with their heart.
Beautifully said.
I love that. But practically speaking, how do we do that? Teenagers aren't exactly known for wanting to chat with their parents.
True. But it starts with being present.
Not just physically in the room.
Right. Emotionally engaged. Phone down. Laptop closed. Really tuning into what they're saying and not saying.
Active listening.
Asking open-ended questions about their day. Listening without judgment. Showing genuine interest.
So it's not about the quantity of time, it's the quality of the interaction.
Those little moments throughout the day, they make all the difference when they wake up.
When they come home from school.
Dinner time. Opportunities to reconnect after separations. Rebuild that feeling of closeness.
So those little touch points matter.
More than we realize. And think about how you interacted when they were small. Touch, eye contact, warm language.
Right.
Those same tools, incredibly powerful even with teenagers.
So a hug, a pat on the back.
Saying, I missed you today.
Those can go a long way.
It's reminding them they're loved, not for achievements.
But just for being themselves.
And that leads us to this idea of respectful parenting, which is huge EE in the book.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It recognizes that parenting, it's a journey for both of you.
It's not about control, it's about building a relationship.
Based on mutual respect, understanding, and yeah, it's hard.
Especially when they're pushing boundaries.
Neufeld gets that.
Yes.
But he also reminds us, and this is a powerful quote, only when we try to hold on to our children will they try to hold on to us.
That's a powerful image, isn't it? Not holding on tightly, but creating that bond where they feel safe enough to, I don't know, spread their wings a little.
It's like giving them roots and wings.
Yeah, exactly. Roots in that unconditional love, but the wings to go out and explore.
And it all goes back to that attachment. When kids feel securely attached,
they can embrace their individuality, no fear of rejection.
They know they have a home base no matter what.
It's not about molding them into some, perfect little version of ourselves, but letting them discover who they are.
Honoring their passions, their quirks.
Even their mistakes.
It's about celebrating their journey.
Even if it goes in directions we didn't expect.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Hold On to Your Kids, what's the one big takeaway you hope our listeners, really absorb?
I think more than anything, it's this. Parenting. It's not about control.
Oh, that's good.
It's about connection. Building that bridge of understanding.
Between two hearts.
That can weather any storm.
And that starts with us, the parents.
Right.
Being willing to really see our kids, meet their emotional needs.
Creating that space where they feel safe. Understood.
So to everyone listening, think about this. What's one small change you can make today?
Just one little thing.
Maybe putting the phone down at dinner.
Giving a hug before they rush out the door.
Truly listening when they talk. No interrupting, no unsolicited advice.
Those little gestures, they add up.
It's like making deposits in that emotional bank account.
Exactly. Building that trust.
Because in the end, isn't that what we all want? To hold on to our kids not through force, but through that invisible thread of love, respect.
Genuine connection.
It's a journey, that's for sure.
But so worth it.